Hey, this is Sean with Rainier Arms, and today we have another New Products Weekly video. This product right here that I want to talk about is the new Unity Fast FTC Magnifier. It's a 4x magnifier, flip to center. Now, this is the first integrated magnifier that is available on the market. And this integrated setup is allowing that magnifier to be flipped up to an optical center line of 2.26 inches. The integrated aspect is also going to have a lot of other benefits. One being that we are going to have far better streamlined functionality. There's going to be less weight because there's less parts, less hardware, less things needed. And then as well, because it's all integrated into one piece, we're getting a better strength durability overall, which is always important for anything that's going to be any kind of a cantilever or any kind of moving parts. Is, there's always a chance of it being a weak point. But with Unity, we already know they make phenomenal products. So we're pretty excited to see this finally coming out and having these. So talking a little bit more about it, the overall construction, the body and the base is all going to be 7075 T6 aluminum. The glass is a South Korean glass, and it's actually pretty dang clear. Very, very happy with looking through it, especially utilizing a EOTech, which is already, has a blurry reticle. This isn't making it any worse. If anything, it almost feels like it's a little bit better, but that might just be just my mind's telling me that. But the glass is very clear. The base, the optical body, or the magnifier body itself, that's all made here in America and assembled here in America, which is nice also. U.S. made stuff. Gotta love it. A little bit more. So the Unity Flip to Center magnifier offers this fast QD, which is a nice touch to have for those of us who don't want to have to rely on tools in order to take this magnifier off if we needed to. When it's in its stowed position, the QD is not accessible, so you have to have it flipped up. The nice part about the stowed position, though, is it does not interfere or occlude that primary optic at all, which is just groovy. But when I flip this bad boy up, this part right here that you're seeing is part of that QD. On the inside, you're going to see a little push button that needs to be actuated. The easiest way that I've found to be able to do it using my right hand is I push this tab in, push that button at the same time. It kind of aligns everything, and then I push that out. And as you see, my thumb pushes that QD lever out. And then from there, come all the way down, the whole system comes off. So very simple to use. At first, not very quick to get off until you figure out the little nuances of that QD system. But once you get that part figured out, it's pretty simple. It doesn't take a whole lot. But overall, solid. As you can see, looks good. All black. Nice little anodized finish. So talk about the specs a little bit more. The field of view on this is the angle is 5.75 degrees. And at 100 yards, you're going to be getting a little bit over 30 feet. It's 30.1 feet for a field of view, which isn't bad at all for a magnifier. Now, the eye relief, which is an area where magnifiers start to be not really a problem, but it's kind of like the known devil in the sauce, is usually the eye relief just isn't that good. This is boasting a 2.6 inch eye relief, which isn't real bad at all. With the current setup that I have this rifle in, it's allowing me to have a pretty standard heads-up position about where I would normally want my face, typically, and I'm still getting full-on eye relief. I don't have any black edges, unless I move my head around. That flip to center, that mechanism is just a force to overcome, which is very easy to flip around, but it's not so easy that if you tap it, it's going to fall into place or fall from its upward position. It does take a little bit of effort, kind of like a down and twist at the same time. So we don't have to worry about just a bump or anything kind of knocking it down. It doesn't really have a spring tension. So if I kind of push it down a little bit, it isn't trying to just slam all the way closed. So which is a nice feature. I've ran into that before with it. Just once it gets overcome a little bit, the whole thing just wants to collapse or flop open, flop closed, whatever it might be. So kind of stoked about that with the Unity setup here. This magnifier is not going to work if you're utilizing, like, let's say this EOTech without a riser on it. It's going to need a riser to get you up above, but it's kind of a common thing to see nowadays. A lot of people are running those. But if you're not running a riser, then you can utilize a different mount for your magnifier instead of this integrated one. But there it is. Pretty excited about it. The Unity Fast flip to center 4x magnifier. Great glass. It's already going to have a solid construction. It's got the QD, which is a nice touch if you want to take it off quickly, easily, and without tools. Yeah, just overall pretty stoked about it. And you got to say, even though it doesn't perfectly match the peanut butter beautiful of this firearm, Unity just makes really good products and it looks good. If it was an FDE, heck yeah, we'd be a lot happier on this build. But on anything else, man, still a solid option. Unity Fast flip to center 4x magnifier. All right, so the product I want to talk about right now is the Driven Arms Co. It's kind of two products coupled together, but first one that I want to talk about is right here, and that is the REIN switch angle adapter. So what this bad boy is, as we know with the new cloud defense, the REIN 3.0s, the Gen 3s, you're getting a single button switch, and that single button switch is mounted flat typically on the rail, which has its places, and it's a very valid option, but there's something nice about having it at an angle. So Driven Arms has created this two-piece adapter, which is made out of a nylon 11 polymer. And what this adapter does is it takes the hardware, essentially the clamp that you have with your switch, you replace that. You have to use your screws and your nuts from that switch, but it ends up putting that switch itself up at a 20 degree position. So creating something a little bit more ergonomic for most people and most use cases. Just a whole lot easier to get to that button, that tactile aspect, that finger indexing aspect, and just the ability to really clamp down and, do what you got to do. It's there. And that's the nice part about the Driven Arms is it's now allowed us to use what is already supplied. So yes, obviously we could go with a different button system, having to replace tail caps, cables, and all that. Or we can get this really inexpensive small piece, slap that bad boy on there, and have something that works perfectly fine with the setup. The setup itself does use the integrated cloud defensive. It's a patented channel for cable control system, cable management system, which we didn't really utilize on this build, just the way that I set this shorter rifle up with this cloud light, trying to minimize the amount of suppressor shadow. So really the only suppressor shadow we're getting is right down here at the bottom. That's the primary reason of having that light so far forward. Plus, with this rifle, how it's built, this suppressor doesn't come off of it. It stays on here the whole time. So I don't need to worry about that light being forward of the muzzle device if I'm shooting unsuppressed versus suppressed. That's just how it's built. So it ends up working. Now, the other part that we kind of put together, utilizing it as a package, is also from Driven Arms, and it's their cable management panel. Now, these panels come in a pack of 3. And there's 2 different texture styles. This one here is the rigid style texture, but there's also a standard texture, which is just going to be a little bit less aggressive. I only used one just because, again, with this build, I don't need all of the extra grip. It's a pretty simple build, but I wanted something that's going to control the cables and manage them a whole lot better and just look slick. Now, obviously, the people that love the FDE peanut butter look are going to be a little upset that we use black. It is just what it is. It accentuates on the camera better so you can better see what we're talking about. But what I do appreciate about these panels is, one, they are inexpensive. They do come in a 3-pack. But what I really liked and appreciated was on the inside, they are hollow. So there's other cable management systems out there that utilize a kind of a panel system, but the inside has a solid core or a ridge line or something that is going down the center, which I didn't realize was kind of an inconvenience until I was utilizing these Driven Arm ones. And if you can see on this build, what that allowed me to do is I was able to run more easily without kinking this cable. I was able to run it onto one side of that panel and then exit it out of the side on the other side of the panel. And so that's allowed it to be a lot more fluid. I didn't have to go down and then turn a hard corner and come back up. I was able to kind of cross it through, and it's made a better, less kinked option for that cable management. So it's just something that I thought was pretty important to point out about that panel. And this panel, for me on this build, it wasn't really put here for grip. My fingers don't really hit it. That panel is mostly there to protect this cable. It's to keep it tight. It's to prevent it from being snagged. It's to prevent it from getting caught on anything or catching or cutting or anything weird happening. And it's just keeping everything nice and tight. Again, I don't really need that grip right there, but it's there if I do. There's other options, but I think that these kind of go together really well. And the cool thing about a lot of these companies now, like Driven Arms and some other ones that are creating, grip accessories that also have cable management, is it's allowing us as the end user and as the builders of our builds to get a little bit more creative with how we are setting things up. It's creating a lot more. It's a lot more options. It's just creating a lot more universal uses for stuff. So anyways, I'm pretty stoked about it. I like it. It does give you grip if you need be. Like I said, it does come in a 3-pack, so you could run it at the 3, 6, and 9 o'clock if you wanted to, if that's what your build included or entailed. But this build just didn't need it. I just didn't need it. So I used it to manage my cables. So yeah, that's the 2 pieces from Driven Arms. You've got your REIN switch angle adapter as well as your cable management panel. Just nice touches and super inexpensive. It definitely beats having to purchase a whole entire cap and cable system, switch system for your cloud REIN 3.0 lights. So there it is, Driven Arm pieces. I dig them. They offer some pretty cool stuff. They also have a really good line of grips, pistol grips for your ARs. Not running it on this build, but we do have it on some other builds. We'll do some videos on those also later. But if you jump on the website, you can take a look at them. All sorts of options with better palm swells, different angles, different colors. Nice look, really good, inexpensive build compared to some other grips out there. Not quite the cheapest, but definitely manageable. So yeah, there it is. Driven Arms, a good option. All right, everybody, thanks for spending some more time with us on another New Products Weekly video. Please take a little bit more time, like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know what you think of the products that we talked about today, and if there is any other products that you would like us to talk about on a different style video, or things that you would like to see us get in on our website. Please keep in mind, TriggerCon is coming up in a week's time, so if you're in the Wichita area or you want to travel, please come out. It's going to be a heck of a show. That's going to be September 27th, 28th, and 29th. The show for the public is mostly going to be on the 28th at Century 2 in Wichita, and then on the 29th is going to be the range day at Severance Training Center in Conway Springs, which is a awesome range out here in southern Kansas. So thank you so much, and again, we'll see you again on the next one.